Yo, what's good, guys? Everlasting E-Dog here, and today I wanted to talk about Escanor Sword and Shield. Honestly, this might be one of his best kits for me, like at this moment, compared to how this game is going with spamming abilities, because it's very satisfying to spam abilities with this kit. And I wanted to go down and break down my kit because his sword and shield scales off defense, and I found it pretty interesting dealing with the different characters on the roster to see who really helps out with defense the best. And I think I have a couple tips and tricks that you guys might like when it comes to this. So first off, my Escanor is P10. His defense is at 96% with no buffs on it, just what we have on him. We have defense increase on the sword and shield, min-max this, got very lucky with a 4.7% defense increase, since he does spam skills but he also does a lot of normal attacks throughout those skills. I like to use that as well. We do have cooldown reduction and magic charging efficiency, so this is actually a really good sword and shield when it comes to spamming abilities, in my opinion. Definitely want to go for these rolls. Fire attack is also good. He doesn't really scale with crit damage. If we see when he gets these preheat stacks, he gains plus 10% defense and plus 10% fire damage. So fire damage is also very nice to have on when you're running him. He has fire barrier, so barrier efficiency is also a very good thing. A lot of his abilities, like as you see, where was the one I saw, like this one, fire barrier inflicts damage equal to 15% of defense, so he's always inflicting damage based on his defense. When he overheats, removes 5 preheat stacks. When he does his second ult, pretty much, and removes all his stacks, and then does 300% of defense. So he does pretty high. I've almost got to 300% defense. I've gotten about 286 defense. But we're going to go to his armor because this is the bread and butter of what makes him crazy. Yes, we have his engraved that dropped, which gives him a 7% defense increase, which is nice. I need to get this to +5, will give him even more defense increase. I also got the engraving bonus roll to give him 5.3% defense increase, which I really like as well. Special attack damage and normal attack damage increase, I think is pretty nice. It's not crazy, but I think it's nice. What you're really looking for is defense, so I tried to make sure I at least got some type of defense on there. I haven't got a max defense roll, but some type of defense is better than no defense. Next, we move on to the Immortal Watchers set. We have a 15% defense on this. I mean, this set is pretty self-explanatory. We get even more defense because that's basically what we're focused on in this gameplay. Next, we have the Albion Mutant Giant necklace, and what this necklace does is when hit, decreases damage taken by 20% for up to 10 seconds. Now this little passive ability, it's kind of nice. It does like a little blow up area effect that scales off of defense and decreases movement speed. So it's not too bad, but what we're really looking for on this is another defense increase, 4.25% defense increase, and you can do a little damage taken. So along with that, we also have a healing crystal, life crystal set, and really that's just so we don't get blocked as much. Also, we have barrier efficiency here, so I thought, why not? I really don't have any other accessories that would really pair well with this, but anything that increases defense would likely be your best bet of running here, or doing some type of defense shatter or the 2-piece corrupted. Next, we move on. Everybody is P10. Let's see, we have King. And I wanted to explain why we have King, because there's a couple reasons we have King, and King is actually interchangeable with Tiori, and we'll look at Tiori in a second for what she does to Escanor. So we're all about defense, right? And if we're all about defense, we can use this ability right here, which increases all allied heroes defense by 6% for 20 seconds while the stance is maintained for a max of 5 times. So you can come out with King, pop this stance, and get a quick 30% defense increase, which is very nice in my opinion, a nice 30% defense increase. But with his normal skill, Forest Fairy, you grants all allied heroes Forest Fairy for 40 seconds, and all Forest Fairy does is increase archer damage by 20%. But if you have King, a potential 5 King, it changes Forest Fairy to Forest Fairy King, which increases earth damage by 40% and defense by 30%. So now you're already increasing defense with King by 60% alone, just with King, and then you swap back in the Escanor, get your preheat stacks. So that is very beneficial. Unfortunately, he does not heal. We'll be right back. We're gonna look at Tiori. So like for Tiori, we love Tiori because she does heal, and she heals off of attack and max HP, and her defense stacks are better, but I mean not better, they're a little bit worse because all allied heroes defense increases by 5% to a max of 3 times. So you can only get a 15% defense increase with her instead of a 30% like you get with King, but hers does last longer. So there are trade-offs with her. However, you can only get up to 15% defense increase with Tiori, and for King you can get up to 60%. So I like to run King on this team just because with having a P5 King and running this, you can already get 60% defense. Next, we're gonna move on to Griamore. I did skip over Merlin. Merlin's pretty self-explanatory. I haven't changed her armor. I just keep it on the cold set. You want to run her lightning engrave just for normal skill damage increase, and it's the better engrave most of the time for most people, and especially when it comes to just what the fire does compared to what the cold does, because you're not really using tag skill as much. But Merlin's such a fast burster on P10 for fire, I don't have to run the twisted set, but this is a set that you should be running if you want to burst with her and you are low potential. I recommend running that with her, with really any armor you choose, maybe a life crystal 4-piece just to give you more HP. That would be nice. Also for King, I threw random stuff on him. I did give him this 3-piece set. I would recommend this 3-piece set of accessories on King just for the HP and the barrier, which is very nice because you want your HP to be high and barriers constantly to be applied for what Griamore does. So with those two out the way, we'll go on to Griamore, and Griamore is really a sleeper in my opinion. I have first strike weapons on him and King. I haven't leveled him all the way up. His weapon is really not circumstantial. What he does though is when an allied hero has a barrier, their defense is increased by 15%. So Griamore is already increasing your defense by 15% just by being on the party, just when you get a barrier, which Escanor's kit already gives him a fire barrier. But say you want to do beat Griamore, you also get a barrier. This ability right here is just his taunt, but it's very interesting that he has a potential, let's see, is it 7? It's 7. No, I found this the other day. It's one of these. He generates a barrier on tag skill, which is very useful, but there is a specific, let's see. Using the normal skill increases the hero's defense by 20% for 40 seconds. I guess it's only that one. But when you do swap into him, you also get a barrier, which will proc this ability, and that barrier does constitute to your other characters. I also wanted to go over his engrave, because what his engrave does that is pretty cool that I don't think a lot of people knew about. On his level 3 reliable shield, it has a 10% chance to increase all allied heroes defense by 60% and grant barriers equal to 30% of max HP for 6 seconds when an allied hero is hit. If a barrier is already active, the effect's duration is extended by 6 seconds. So I'm not gonna lie, this is broken. So Griamore is gonna increase your defense by 75%. King is increasing yours by 60, and with this build, Griamore can increase your defense by 75%, and you don't even have to have him out on that. As long as you proc a barrier, on Escanor and get hit, you have a 10% chance of getting this. And if you have the barrier, your defense proc of plus 60 is increased by 6 seconds. So I really like running Griamore on this defense set. I haven't really used him at all, but when I saw this, I was like, wow, they actually gave him something that I think is very useful. I did try to run Dredrin Now, Dredgen has a couple things that are cool about him when it comes to his armor, and he does heal like a small amount, and when you ult with him, it increases all heroes defense by 20%. But you really have to make sure you have an all allied hero instead of just in a defense increase, because a lot of these characters are just increasing their own defense. So I could only get Dredgen to increase my allied heroes defense by 20%. So instead of Dredgen, it'd be better to run Tiori. You get the 15% damage boost increase and the way better heals, because I could only get Dredgen up to about 2k per tick, but we all know at Tiori you can get her up to 10 to 11, really 8 to 12k per tick. So that is very beautiful. But yeah, that was the build. This is the Escanor team. When we do the combos and set it all up, we get about 286 of defense. We're gonna go into the Guardian Golem and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. All right, we're here in Guardian Golem. I'm running around just a little bit. I actually like this Griamore skin with the helmet. It looks kind of fresh, and that's a surprising for me because I was a Griamore hater. He kind of got the demon back from Baki going on right now, and like the ominous look, it's something I would see in Hollow Knight. Like I was actually fucking with his skin. But let's see if I show you guys real quick. We pop that. You see how we kept our defense stack. Now we're stacking up with King. We kept all our defense stacks. King has first strike. Boom. It did make me lose that Griamore defense stack, so I can go ahead and reapply that real fast. And then you want to go into Escanor. Oh gosh, I got bounced back, and I have to reapply my defense stacks when it comes to King and Griamore, but those don't take too long. And I like how Kings you can actually move, which is very nice to see. I mean, this build of course takes some time. It's not gonna be like an instant DPS slam, but I really like how it is. And if you do this rotation where you burst with Merlin, apply your buffs with King and Griamore, and then clean up with Escanor for when you have the burst activated, you should do pretty good. You'll pop your barriers most of the time. Sometimes I always don't get the barrier, but there we go. We killed him, and it was a little slow. We were taking our time, but I honestly do really like this build. When it comes to running Tiori instead of King, the healing, you could imagine, is just so broken you won't even need to really run anything else. We'll actually use a little bit of keys here. Awaiting Elizabeth, see if we get anything great. We got a top. We got a top. That's something. But yeah, using Tiori will really help you when it comes to just keeping your health up. Let me know what you guys think about that team. I thought it was a little bit different. I kind of didn't want to run the same team. I know everyone's using Griamore, so I wanted to see if I could find anything else different about him. That's why it took so long for like me to make this video, but I found this engrave and I finally worked up all this stuff to get it, and I think this will be beneficial when it does proc. I didn't take this team into the raid or anything like that. That would be a good way to test like how everything stacks up, but if I did take it into the raid, I feel like I'd have to take King off, so I really didn't want to do that. But try out this team, let me know what you think. Drop your teams for Escanor Sword and Shield in the chat. Hype for Elizabeth, she's coming out this week, so I'll catch y'all then, man. Like, subscribe, and I appreciate you if you stuck around this long. Peace out.